sports listeners. I'm your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teens. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This whole hour, sound of our teen athletes. And all those people and businesses that support those teen athletes. This is an exciting show. Yay!
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 Good morning.
Yay!
Where's my coffee? My coffee.
I'm so excited.
You don't need coffee.
Well, you got to be the most excited. Doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Hey, Doctor, I got this pain over here.
Have some coffee. Have some coffee. And some Tussin, some Robitussin.
Extra water in the coffee.
And some Tussin.
I am so happy and proud of you.
Thank you.
You got a PhD on top of when you're an acupuncturist, you're a doctor. Is it called a doctor when you're an acupuncturist? How does that go?
Yeah, it's still technically a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist is the technical title, but it soon will be grandfathered in. Should be a Chinese medical doctor as we went to 4 years of med school.
Got you.
But we got a master's.
Okay.
4 years master's.
But now you got the PhD, and Dominique and I were so...
You were there?
Well, I was so happy.
You were there.
It was nice, and you got
what support, what love. That was awesome.
But when we were there...
Really? No.
Dominique, I know. But I whispered, I went over, I go, God, we should have just made this big, announcement, and to have you go up there, and then you had to defend, and it was kind of cool because I got to say, do the mommy shout out. My son's starting his doctorate program up at JFK.
That's right.
For the PSYD. He's going to be doing that 5 years.
Class.
Yeah, I was really excited. And so I wanted to get a flavor of it, but to have you go up, then what I got to say, Brian, is I always have known, because we have something like we don't have a lot of stuff in common, okay, but the nose, okay, because I have a big sense of smell at myself, right?
Right.
And I mean, I know when we always get the food because we eat our lunch together again when you treat me and whatnot, and we do the same thing. I've got to smell, we got to do the big smell thing.
Yeah.
And when you said you were going to take this on, I mean, I was really excited, and just to have you go up there, like Dominique and I are two proud sisters.
Yeah.
And Dominique and I were I thought she almost started crying.
Well, we have so many people in our community that have letters after their name. They've done something phenomenal. But it's not very often that we get to participate in that rite of passage.
Right.
And so it was just a real privilege and honor to watch you do your presentation and then be quizzed by your professors and then welcomed into this beautiful community.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it felt good, and it really is like a ritual. For those that don't know, most people that get a PhD, go through a defense where they're sometimes grilled. That's how it used to be anyway, and in a private room, not open to the public. And it would be during part of your dissertation research, not at the end. And if you answered your questions sufficiently, you would continue your research. If you had too many holes or it looked like you didn't really prepared well enough, you went back to the drawing board. And that's how it was. So it was a very scary thing. Nowadays, it's a little different. Certainly at Pacifica Graduate School in Carpinteria, it's more of a rite of passage, and that's what it felt like. It was the passage through from a student into scholarship, and to do that in front of people as witnesses, it's sort of like a communion or baptism, or it's something like that, and it felt good. So we don't have too many rituals in our culture left these days, and that was one of them. And for a lot of people in the audience, most people I think had never seen a dissertation defense. They didn't know anything about it, or even what that is, right? It's not that common, or if you know somebody, you necessarily didn't go and see it. So. On both ends, I think it was a cool thing.
Share about what it was. I mean, now that's all.
Oh, so basically,
and you can buy the book, right? Because I'm
going to have it on Amazon. Actually, I got a gift for you too later. If you're good, if you don't hassle me too much today. So basically, defense is 20 to 30 minutes, and it gives the student opportunity to present their research. And then that's usually followed by a couple questions from each of the 3 committee members of the teachers, and then anyone in the audience can ask questions as well. And then, so there's about 30 minutes of lecture, and then 30 minutes of discussion afterwards. So it's not a long thing, but it's...
My defense would have been about 5 seconds. Look. I wrote it. I investigated it. It's right. I don't have to justify myself to you.
Whoa. Tell me more, son. Tell me more. What was your question? What was your methodology? What was your results, findings, conclusions? We wanted all the details here.
So what is your dissertation book entitled?
The name of the book is entitled Smell Your Reflections. Subtitle is On the Soul's Meaningful Scent Images.
Interesting.
Very
It would be
different.
so cool if your book could include you remember the scratch things that we used to... Yeah, scratch and sniff.
There's these terpenes that apparently you can put in books. I'm still researching on how to do that and how much it's going to cost. But as for right now, thank goodness we have self-publishing. This is for Dr. D, and that's for you lovely ladies.
Oh, wow. How beautiful.
I signed it, of course.
This is my first dissertation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay,
So
this
it's,
brings tears to my eyes.
it's something tangible, something tangible. It's not just, abstract letters in the computer. They're actually on
Of
paper.
course, everybody's is a little different because I've seen some that have been leather bound and they're in a large oversized
Oh, sure.
form.
We were, as schools do, they're still kind of old school. They require at least 2 published that are the thick, hardbound books, and we have to pay for those, and they're double-spaced and one-sided, and they're big, thick, heavy, behemoth things. One goes in the school library, and one goes into my house. The rest I can do whatever I want. So I just did Amazon self-publishing, changed the format and the font and everything, put a cover on it, and off they went.
Dominique will have this read in 2 days.
It's pretty short, actually. I mean, it looks longer, but
Dominique's a big reader.
Now, I'm curious. I haven't had a chance to, Evelyn Woodhead sped read in this yet, but did you talk at all about the cognitive aspects of smell and the memories that it evokes, and the memories that are then reignited even in our own tissues? Certain smells are going to evoke certain memories, maybe good ones.
Page 109. Okay, it's right here. 109. Please look at page 109.
That was a big part of it, actually. Yeah, that's what I really was curious about. What's that all about? Why does that happen? What does that mean?
Yeah, for example, I've lived here for 11 years. The one smell I can't stand, and I will tense up over it, is the smell of... And it's not just any smoke. You know the difference between a barbecue and
a forest fire.
State Street, and you're hearing, you're smelling the hickory or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
And a wildfire. You can tell the difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I just immediately, when I start smelling that. Now,
You know what?
God, even with the
I'm
haziness
also
we get-
sensitive to the light. I get a sense because of the smoke and the sun. I know that there's a fire going on. Yeah.
But it's to me that's fascinating because I've been even walking around Santa Barbara over the last 11 years, and there have been certain senses like somehow, some way, takes me back to my childhood.
Right.
Oh, I remember this particular event.
Yeah.
And
You would have enjoyed his dissertation.
Did you have it videoed?
I did.
I would love to.
I'm editing and I'll make a little YouTube video for those that couldn't see it. So
my dissertation would have been messy. I would have had axes and.
You would have pulled all the bells and whistles. Don't give me that. Yeah, come on.
Well, it was so fun that you got to go to Carl Jung's library and house.
That was really cool. Yes, very
and
fortunate.
incorporated that into the story of doing your dissertation. That was magical.
That
So
was.
Is this your? Now we could say this. This is your first book.
Yep.
That's very cool.
Yep.
That's very cool, and it had a very practical purpose,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
and will help others as well.
I'd like to think so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. We'll have you on the program.
All right.
Fine.
Looking forward to it.
Dominique brought up something. Actually, she actually said it when she was there because. Can I say?
Yeah.
It's too late because you don't know what I'm going to say. Because you kind of passed away for 8 seconds. Remember, you want to say it again?
Well, I had an NDE experience. That's a near-death experience.
Yeah.
And I was relating to one of your professors that when I was out of my body, and Anthony, you might have an experience too, I could hear, I could see something, right? So I had those senses. I had a sense of beingness, so that's a little bit like a feeling sense, right? I had a sense of being, but I couldn't smell and I couldn't taste. And I was thinking, that the smell and the taste and actually the real sense of touch is probably what grounds us in our body into this individual experience.
That's very interesting.
And I was...
Book 2.
Yeah,
Well,
appendix.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Medically, when we're treating someone who we're worried, we'll give them smelling salts.
Yeah.
And then also, if you want to make sure that they stay in their body and don't like pass out, you rub their skin and you rub their body to keep them having that sensation. So all of our senses are so important, but the sense of smell is critical to being in your body.
Wow.
What do you think about that, Anthony?
Actually, I think she's right. I mean, after suffering this aneurysm that I just had, it was really intense. And I remember specifically hearing somebody, and I was asking questions, like, if I was dead, and they're like, no, it's not your time yet. But no matter what, I asked many people, like, who did I ask? And nobody can answer that question. But exactly what she said about sense of touch, it does make things a lot more. Oh God, I can't even think of a word that I can even describe that. But it brings you down a little bit more down to earth. I mean, you're more in touch with it, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty intense. And then the smell. I mean, with trauma, that's one thing I do talk a lot about when I teach classes. Your 5 senses are huge when it comes to trauma. So it plays a big part.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Wow.
Well, you'll be happy to know I just sent my daughter off on a trip to Europe, to Vienna.
Yay!
And before she took off, I said, what did you take with you in case you get a cold? And she said, I didn't have anything. And I gave her a small bottle of lavender. Because the lavender will help your breathways open up and so forth.
Nice.
And it makes you feel good and it relaxes you. So I figured, hey, if you don't know what to take and you're in a strange place, at least you can smell something that reminds you of home.
Nice.
And what her response was, it makes you think of my mommy. Oh, always. All right, we got a big show for you folks. Let's take a little break. It's Erica Salda, the queen of team. Put our hands together for Dr. Brian Falk. We're back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the queen of teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
Guess what?
What?
Today's your lucky day.
Really?
Who's lucky day?
This is Anthony's lucky day.
Anthony.
You know why?
Why?
Before you got here, I go, hey, Anthony, and we got Dr. Brian Falk, and like, he's my man, you're my man, everybody's my man. I got a lot of men. Love men. But at the end of the day, I go, he's not only a PhD, he's an acupuncturist. I go, have you ever had acupuncture? He goes, oh, no, I'm afraid of needles. I go, oh, guess what? He goes, what? I go, he brought his filaments.
I'm like, what is filament?
He goes, I go,
I said
needles.
needle.
Yeah, he goes, oh. So I go, the funny thing is about being at this radio show, it's called Firsties,
Yeah.
So, and with this, everything that you go on, the struggles, and you being the guy that you are,
right.
I think, because you can't say no because you're on the radio.
I know. I mean, come on,
You got Anais here.
I got my daughter.
Yes, you're on the
You're in this tight enclosed vessel.
And like, you can't run, I lock the door. You know what I mean? And, Bianca's going to be listening. She's probably listening right now,
I know.
right?
It would be nice.
And you got Dominique hold your hand.
I know, because I always have to have, every time I go to the hospital, I have to have a lady hold my hand.
Exactly. There you go. And it's a filament. It's like,
What is a filament?
I don't know. Just say it's a filament.
Okay, filament.
Pluck
Right.
a hair off your head.
Right.
That's about what it is.
Yeah, okay, no,
That-
that's good.
just like that.
I can do that.
I know. That's all. Go ahead.
Well, Brian, maybe explain to people with acupuncture. Not only is the needle so very small,
Right.
but it doesn't. You don't even put it in that far.
Right.
Most of them, no.
Yeah.
No,
What do you mean most of them?
Well,
Just kidding.
yeah.
Bring the hammer out very often.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I will say we went to go check out his new clinic, which is, oh God, it's total score. I mean, even though we passed it, we ended up having to go to the state beach and waving at everybody. Had to go all
Took a dip
the
in the
way.
water.
Dip in the water,
took her-
exactly. Yeah, right. And then went around. It's a beautiful location. It's got a beautiful clinic. You're going to be visiting it because after you do this, I'm going to compliment you on wanted treatment.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, she wanted to.
Who does
absolutely.
that? Oh, Erica does that.
Yeah.
We take care of you.
Of my life.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You do really good work.
So. Yeah, and Bianca's wanted to go look at it. You know, she's gotta be, Bianca, what's the name of that company?
She works at Hub International.
Hub International. Let's give Hub International a plug.
Tell us about Hub.
Yeah, property and casualty company here in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, she does insurance.
She does insurance. Yeah, right. Work comp and property and casualty.
Absolutely.
So if you ever need anybody out there, I love Bianca. Call Bianca at that. What's the name of that company?
It's at Hub International.
Hub International.
All right, go Hub.
Get hold of her at 805-879-9542.
Bianca.
Bianca Rodriguez.
Yeah, there's only one Bianca.
I know, the only one that's married to the only one.
That's it. We love that. We love Hub. And they're not even telling me to do all this.
I know, that's great. That's great. Much love.
We love love. Love is love. Got to love yourself. Right?
That's true.
Right.
We
to love
definitely have
others. Right.
Exactly.
Right. You taught me that.
I did.
So, Brian, how long has acupuncture been around? And what do you know? How is it that the science started using these filaments in order to help heal people?
The tradition goes back at least 2,000 years. There's records of old needles, and actually the Chinese have kept the longest written records as far as we know with herbal medicine, but at least 2,000 years, perhaps even as much as 5,000. It's hard to say exactly, somewhere between that. So it goes back quite a long ways. The needles, of course, back then were not what they are now. You wouldn't really want to be stuck with those things. I went to the museum in China and saw some of the old acupuncture needles, and they were made of bones and heavy metals, thick steel. You know, they're much
dinosaur bones,
much bigger. I'm sure that it worked because they didn't have a whole lot of things to use at that time. They'd use it everything from anesthesia to serious diseases that the villages would get to malnutrition, all kinds of stuff.
Can we take one of those out and just say we had a specimen like Anthony Rodriguez?
So I'm willing to do this. I'm definitely willing to do this because
at least just have a peek at it.
It has been pretty intense for me, to be honest with you. Today's been an intense day.
When you scream, Anthony, you won't.
I have never.
So nowadays they're made almost all primarily with stainless steel. There are some that are gold and silver, but primarily we use stainless steel. They're single use only, one time in, and then they go in a box and they get sent off to the lab for meltdown. But they're about as thin as one's hair. They make them very well now, so that there's very little. You don't feel much going in. Depends on the spot of the body, but they come in various lengths depending on the location of the body and also the person's body type and what you're kind of working on.
Oh, I'm a little chunky, so I got a lot of mass in there.
Well, hey, if I was going into the hips or the waist or belly area for some people, I would maybe use a little longer. But in general, they're maybe a half an inch to an inch length. And so, there's hundreds of points in the body. They do multiple functions, and in a way, it's kind of like an art because you can have 10 points all doing the same thing. It just depends on kind of what you're working on. And they stay in the body anywhere between 5 and 25 minutes. I'd say average is 15 minutes for them to do their things, a little longer ones. I use them as little on people as young as newborns or neonates, all the way to people over 100. So anybody can use them. There's not really any contraindications for the most part. So it's fairly safe. Very, I would say, almost no side effects. It's rare to have any negative side effects, rather. So it's one of those things I have people say, well, the worst that happens is it doesn't work. That's really, for the most part, that's a good feeling to know that. And then I
have to say, when I get my acupuncture treatment, I usually fall asleep. It's like something about it. Really my body just goes, wow, you're in repair mode or healing mode.
Yeah, there is something about that. A lot of people feel euphoric after, as if they've been drugged a little, because actually some points on the body will actually release chemicals in the brain, like dopamine and norepinephrine and serotonin, that kind of thing. So it can help with stress and sleep and depression and anxiety, all kinds of stuff, in addition to pain and internal organ problems.
I have a really good friend who's at SBCC in charge of the drug and alcohol program, and he's saying that he wished there were more acupuncture used for recovering addictions.
Yeah.
Because the science is there proving that it helps the body.
Yeah, I've known some people who've worked in addiction clinics, and there's actually some kind of specific protocols in the ear, which just make it very easy. People sit in chairs and do group settings, so they don't have to disrobe. And there's 5 points in the ear that are very sedating, and that supposedly cut down on cravings. You can use that for trying to stop smoking and other things. But when it's part of a residential program, it's just another tool. It's another adjunct treatment to all of the therapy that they're getting already. In and of itself, for something like that, it's unlikely it would work. But in addition to many other things, it's a nice addition.
A team.
A team, yeah. It really does, for a lot of people, really zen, like as the expression goes, zen people out. It makes generally them very calm and grounded, and because you can't move when you have them in, you're just sitting there. You're not really doing anything. You're just relaxing. It kind of forces you to slow down a little bit.
That's actually always a good thing, especially with me. I mean, I have a tendency not to slow down.
Yeah.
So I think that's why probably so many things have happened that I've had to literally have to slow down the broken leg, and then now with this aneurysm. But I'm definitely willing to try anything because it's, health is important,
It's good for you, actually, to learn to receive, because you're such a giver. Yeah. So what's really nice is that, and I get that.
That's true. That's a good point.
It is.
You just lay on the table and relax.
Yeah, just to relax.
In that hour, that's your time.
Right. It's your time.
Another element of it, too, is you deserve not to be in pain.
Right.
Being in pain is not a normal state for us.
Right.
Yeah. See, and then I've been in pretty much quite a bit of pain ever since this thing, which is very unusual for me, because I'm I have a very high tolerance for pain, extremely high. That sometimes it is a little dangerous.
Yeah.
But lately I've been in some pretty good amount of pain, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so let's everybody get set up. Let's top off your coffee. Yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
Going to get some coffee too? Yeah, let's get some coffee. Let's take a break. It's Erica Salda, Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
Well, we're just watching everybody get filamented. And look, I got smiles. We're happy. And like, oh, is that it? Oh, you're kidding me. Is that it? See? I told you. Nothing. Like, oh, all right, Dominique will take all of the commentary.
I'm taking a picture so you can see what it looks like. But yeah, if you're just relaxing and talking, a lot of times you don't even feel it go in. And so, Brian, what is it doing to the body's energy centers, or how do they explain how acupuncture works?
You can explain it in a lot of different ways. It sort of depends on which map or lens you're looking through. The Chinese have their own language of things. Here in this culture, we're familiar with more Western biomedical terms, so I typically explain it that way. So for those out there that are curious, I would say that acupuncture reduces inflammation. It dilates the blood vessels, so it increases blood circulation. It can break up scar tissue. Certain points will, like I said, release chemicals in the brain, hormones, neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, norepinephrine. And then others will help regulate the function of the organs, the internal organs.
It's interesting. Both of you, I don't know if you realize this, you both took deep sighs and your body was relaxing.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice.
Yeah. And in this context, it's like, you're sitting in a radio studio in chairs and it's first time and all that. But in the context of most treatment rooms, at least here, you're going to get a nice, maybe a little body work. I do massage first before I do any needles usually. Okay. Sometimes people are falling asleep before I even put the first needle in. So then that happens and you might lay there for 15 or 20 minutes. And then like Dominique said, a lot of people fall asleep. And then I incorporate other techniques too. I do suction cupping, which is really effective.
A lot of sports people have talked about cupping.
So I'll kind of back up just for a second and explain the way the Chinese view. The Chinese view that our bodies are in relationship to nature and the cosmos, and what the substances of our body is the same that's in the universe. And like nature, all parts of nature are regulating itself. If it gets too hot or too cold, our body temperature fluctuates. If we get too hot, we sweat. If we get too cold, we shiver. So there's always kind of a sense of homeostasis that's always going on. And so the Chinese believe that if you keep the body in a relative balanced state, you're never going to be totally balanced, but that sometimes we have too much of something, sometimes we don't have enough of something.
Right.
And so you're trying to adjust things. Sometimes you're too hot, sometimes too cold. And sometimes for example, the stomach, the Chinese believe that the energy of the stomach should be going down a direction. If it goes up, that's when we get hiccups and burping and nausea and vomiting. So if that happens, heartburn, then they say, okay, well, the stomach chi, the stomach energy is going up and it should be going down. So we have to reverse it. So they use herbs and acupuncture to reverse the energy of the stomach going the direction going down. So it's a different way of thinking about things, but essentially it's about regulating our basic body function. So blood, fluids, the organs, and then a temperature. Those are big components to it. So a lot of times when you have pain, it's because the blood gets stuck. We get an injury or something, or we're not moving very well. The blood gets stuck and causes pain. That's one of the most common things. Other times the muscles get really tight and bound up, and then they say there's chi stagnation or energy stagnation. You get that dull ache, sore, heavy feeling. Insomnia, for example, is a little different. They would say the person might have the blood is deficient. The person might be what we'd consider anemic, and they don't have enough blood. So the spirit or the soul can't settle in the body at night, so it floats up, and so you need to strengthen the blood. Right. So they're working with different body functions and the organs and basic energies, and trying to kind of regulate them.
Have you ever worked with athletes when they get like that, the lactic acid gets stuck in, they get the pains in the legs and stuff?
Right.
Have you ever worked with anyone with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I usually have them wait a couple days before coming in to get treatments. Best to relax a little bit and drink water and rest. But then after that, massage and acupuncture and cupping and all that stuff is really helpful. You can facilitate the body's waste. That's what happens. Fatigue or working out a lot, you'll exhaust a lot of the body's resources, and there'll be like waste deposits. So it's just a matter of helping things clear out.
So like it's balancing the body to do its normal work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Essentially, the body's always regulating itself. This just helps it along, And the body's so intelligent that I get out of the way. I trust that whatever the needles are doing, it's working, because I tell all of you this, but really, do I really want to know what's going on? Not really. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? That's what I think.
That's the whole reason why you went to school, right?
Exactly. And I think that's what Western medicine too. It's right. their metaphors or their stories of how to understand our complex body and psyche in this complex world. And we put a map to figure out our way. And it's just a map though. And awesome. it works, but... And that's the main thing, is it works or not? She's all like, yeah.
Yeah, she's chilling. She's like, yeah. That's good.
So, Dr. Brian, explain to people where your new office is.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah. So I'm still in Carpinteria, but I'm down near the State Park near the beach at the Palm Loft Apartments. It's 410 Palm Avenue. There's some art galleries there. They're mixed commercial residential. So 410 Palm Avenue in Carpinteria.
Cool.
And it's amazing when you look up over the screen, you see the ocean. That is so cool.
Yes, right near the ocean.
Then that's definitely got to be relaxing.
It is. And apparently I just found out that land that the complex is at used to be Chumash land. They used to build their canoes and patch up their canoes right there. So and then about 100 years ago, it used to be a lima bean factory, a big lima bean factory. That's Carpinteria was known for their lima beans, and they would process the plant there. But before that, it was Chumash land. So I feel like I'm in good hands, ancestor wise and land wise. I feel very grounded there.
Which is actually
I'm on the first
important.
floor. There's second floors. I'm on the ground floor. There's no carpeting or anything, so it's nice. Yeah.
Cool. That's good. That's good.
All right. Well, take these up.
No.
Unless you want me to keep them in.
So there's one sitting like in between your eyebrows, and there was one in your shoulder. How do you feel?
I mean, I don't know if it's normal to say, but I feel like a lot of stress just like left my body.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's left just your body.
Maybe
nice.
it's just I was overthinking it, like the comfort, but I actually liked how it felt.
Nice. So you feel relaxed and your body feels supported.
Yes.
So you can imagine, like, being on a nice table and having. You can imagine being on a table and having a little massage and then a few pins, and you get to rest quietly, and it can be very relaxing. You wouldn't think so, having pins in you, but for most people, most of the time, it is quite relaxing, which is always a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did it feel, Anthony?
Actually, pretty interesting. It was interesting seeing, our upcoming guest get it, and it was actually really good. I was actually being able to just chill out, and today was a very, very, very stressful morning for me. So it definitely helped because I feel a little bit more tired, which I guess is relaxed.
That happens too.
So it's good because I was pretty tensed up when I got here.
Yeah.
I've been on his table. Last time he treated me when I checked out because Dominique's had to hear about my complaining elbow, and then all he had to sit at lunch and hear how happy I was that I did not have a bad elbow.
Look at this. It's unbelievable. Like back on the East Coast.
Exactly.
Look, it's unbelievable.
Oh my God, Dominique, you don't have to hear about this elbow at all.
How is that elbow, by the way? It's still okay? Or is it starting to come back a little?
Yeah, because I was lifting.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Because
Right.
then we emptied out the shed.
Yeah.
So I kind of got it off its rail a little bit,
Right.
but it's all right.
Yeah.
I got to say thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, my pleasure.
See that?
I really appreciate
the
it.
Absolutely.
Look at that.
The
appreciation.
Yeah. And it's always cool for me to do for people for the first time. It's it's something
let me
different.
tell you, that was the first for me.
Congratulations.
I did it.
It took like 2 days. It's just serious. That's good. What are you going to cry? What are you, a baby?
Now the next time you'll be like, I've done it before.
Oh, you're
I'm
doing
good. I'm
it,
good.
I
Let's
said.
do a full, I'm good. I got it. I got this.
I can honestly say that, before I wouldn't admit when I really needed something,
Right.
not, I don't know, just stuck and stubborn, I guess. But things change.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And definitely, I can definitely probably use it for sure.
Well, you got a nice complimentary session from Erica and Dominique. So
I got
when
you.
you're
We're
ready,
doing
when you're ready,
Yeah.
give me a call. Come in.
Awesome.
Have some
Sooner
fun.
the better.
Yeah,
got the bobble-
sooner the
I got
better.
the bobblehead bobblehead
After a day like today, right? Yeah.
Sure. Definitely.
We got to
Yeah.
go on break, or he's going to be just cutting us out. He's going to pull the plug on me.
Get outta here.
Yeah, we
Get
got to
outta
go. We got to
here.
go right now. All right. Not now. Later. We're going to go now. All right, let's take a break. Erica Salda, Queen and Tina. We're back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
See?
C
See?
D E F G.
That's right. So, what are you going to say right now? Sometimes I don't want to be told, like, what? I'm right. Okay. So you can say it. What are you laughing?
You were right.
Oh,
there you go. There you go. What
yeah.
can I say?
That's what I'm
You were
saying.
right. It was bomb.
All
It was
right.
bomb.
Bomb.
Yeah. it was
.com.
great. Yep.
That's what I'm saying all day. You can say it again.
It was bomb.
Because I have self-esteem issues.
Well, it's okay.
That's what my therapist said.
Don't we all?
I don't know, but I admit it.
Yeah.
That's different. Therapist says, just tell everybody you have it.
Okay.
Anthony brought a guest today.
Actually, I sure did. And actually,
Your face was so happy when she had the treatment.
you know what? This young lady, let me tell you, she is an amazing young lady. I love her to death. This is my goddaughter. Her name is Anais Lopes, and her and I met. And
When she was born?
No, not when she was born, but in some pretty intense times. And she's been through a lot as well as myself, and I think that's why we've become so close.
Aww.
But I really love her a lot, and she's actually been she's amazing, and she's done a lot for herself, and I'm very proud of her, and I'm really excited that she's here. And so,
What school are you in?
I'm actually going to be attending Santa Barbara City College.
Nice. We're a big city college.
Are you taking advantage of the Promise program?
Yes.
Ooh, nice. Do you have an area of study?
I want to major in psychology, but I'm still not sure yet.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and the road to that, to where she's at now, has been amazing. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about that, Anais?
So I met Anthony when I was 14, and it was in a really bad time. I was struggling a lot in school. I was at San Marcos, and things were just going downhill. I was stealing, I was drinking. I'm not going to get really into that, but yeah, I was doing bad. And he came along and he was just there as support for the time, but I was kind of just pushing everyone away. And it didn't get to the point where I was caught in the system, and he started coming around more and more. And I was in and out of juvenile hall.
Sorry. We got caught in the system there, right there.
Yep. That was a reminder to drink water.
Everybody drink water. Go ahead. That's a sippy.
Stay hydrated.
So did you get to graduate at San Marcos?
I actually didn't. I went to Grizzly Youth Academy, and it's a military school, pretty much. So I finished my credits there. I graduated. I got a scholarship, 4.0 GPA.
Oh.
So it really turned my life around. I got out of probation successfully, and as soon as I came back, I started working. I collected some money, and then now I'm off to CC.
So, Anthony, what was your favorite thing of telling your goddaughter as she was going through the hardest parts? What would you say to her?
That I was not going to give up on her, and I never will. And I'm extremely, extremely proud of her for everything that she's overcome, because she's overcome a lot. And to know that she's now an official SBCC student, dude, I cannot be more stoked than ever, because, at her hardest times, I was really worried that, she was going to be the one that I was going to lose. And to see her, as much as she succeeded and where she's at now, it's a total blessing. And, she just, when I seeing her smile right now and seeing the stress that you relieved off of her, doctor, let me tell you, it was awesome. Because, I was able to see that, and I think everybody else was able to see that too. So, to see her smile is like, it's a blessing, and so she's a blessing to me, so I'm very proud of her.
Yeah.
Very proud of her.
Well, we know it takes a village, and you probably have good people you want to give a shout out to. Who else other than Anthony is special on your list?
My Nina, Bianca Rodriguez, all the sergeants from Grizzly that have helped me. They broke me down at first. They really helped me shape into the woman that I am today. And my mother, she's always been there for me, no matter what, no matter how many tattoos I have. She's stuck around. My teachers from Grizzly, my counselors that I still keep in contact with today. Yeah.
Awesome. And what would you say to someone who is on the edge of struggling and pushing people away instead of accepting the help?
I would say that don't let what has happened in the past affect your actions now. You should never let that happen, because it can turn into a bad decision into a permanent thing that can happen. So
well said. Every day is a new day.
You gotta keep pushing.
Yeah. Awesome. So what's your favorite sport?
I love soccer.
Nice. Did you play soccer at all in school, or?
When I was younger, I was in AYSO here. It was pretty fun.
And now she goes fishing with her Nino. She caught a shark the other night, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good, except it snapped our line.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good times, and it was good relaxing. And
Did you make her pay for the line?
No, I was ready to take care of that shark, but it got away, So it's some good stuff, and I'm very proud of her, and I'm very proud of a lot of these kids that overcome so much diversity, and because in this town there's a lot. And, like when I first moved here, the first thing that I got was, I needed to go back to where I came from. That was my welcoming in Santa Barbara. And it really sucked. So it kind of made me double think if I really wanted to be here. But in reality, you know what? Like my goddaughter says, that you can't let that bother you. It hurts. It's very hurtful. But honestly, you got to keep on pushing, because nobody's going to be able to take care of you the way that you can. And, things happen, but, you can do this, we can't do it alone, and it's okay to ask for help. So that's one thing that we always have to really, really stress to a lot of our teens.
We talked to a lot of teens where they're very concerned about what their peers think. They're concerned about what their parents think, their teachers think, and they don't pause and really get deep about what they think. So we actually talked to a lot of people, teens and adults. It really doesn't matter what somebody else thinks of you. What matters is what you think of yourself. And what most people don't realize is that there's this little self-talking going on inside, and the self-talking can be quite negative. And we're so used to it, we don't realize how negative it is. So what somebody else thinks of me is none of my business, but what I think of me is my business. And I got to be my best advocate. Keep all that good, positive thinking.
Just gotta love yourself.
That's
no matter
it.
What.
That's it.
Save yourself. That's what I always say. I mean, in the plane, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. I mean, it's so hard to do, and I get it. Because you're always out for somebody else. But you've got to be, especially you. Yeah,
I'm
looking at you.
I
you know what I'm saying?
The biggest ones, yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
Because you have all these. You always list your God kids and all that, but now's the time you got to take a break for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's without a doubt. I know that. The biggest thing for me is to be there for my godchildren, and if I can't be there for my godchildren, then there's something wrong. So, I like to make sure that I keep my promises and follow through. And the one thing that I can promise my godchildren is I can't be here for the rest of their life, but I can be here for the rest of my life for them. So, I do need to take care of myself.
We're gonna archive the show, and I want you to listen to it like every night before you go to bed.
I think I should, because sometimes every day is a struggle for somebody that has been through so much. Things don't just go away, and having the support that you have with other people, it definitely does make a difference. So people need to understand, you don't have to do anything alone, and nothing's perfect, and nothing will ever be perfect, but just know that you're worth it.
It's so important. You're in a body, you're here having a human experience. The fact that your heart loves yourself, your heart loves another being. And if you're having a hard time with the human beings, love a cat, love a dog, love a bird, love a flower.
Honey, do you hear that? Because I do want a puppy, I really, really do. That's like my goal. I want a puppy. I've been
People with dogs live an extra 10 years.
Dude, see, hook it up, baby. Hook it up. I really want a puppy for my birthday this year. I really do.
What kind of puppy do you want?
I call him a little Aussie. I don't know what kind of dog he is though, but I think he's a little terrier. I've had a dog ever since I was a baby, and
you talked to Bianca about this?
Yeah, and
puppies like shoes.
Yeah,
girls, female shoes, the kind that you. Where does she work again?
It's all good at Hub International. In 2016, I lost my last dog, and that's actually when I broke my leg, and he died in my arms, and that was.
Did you trip over him?
No.
That's how you broke your leg? No, I'm just kidding.
I fell off a 10-foot ladder because of a spider. So we won't go there on that one, though. But so Malibu, was my last one, and this is the longest run that I've had without a dog. So.
All right, we'll talk about doggies after a break. Okay. All right? Because there's people that listen to the show. I hear.
I really would like a puppy.
Okay. Let's take a little break. It's Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more of these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
You guys still feel good?
Oh, yeah.
Very.
Yeah, that's awesome. See that? For somebody who's never tried. Aren't you glad? You know what's really good about, what I like about you is like you'll try it. I always make my kids, since they were really little, just try it one time. You'll never have to do it again. All I ask you to do is try it. Dominique Hackett, you've got a job. Whoa, we're excited. Dominique got a job.
I'm a business consultant, but I'm doing some consulting for a philosophical book association for the blind.
Oh, wow.
And I'm helping them do some things with their assets and so forth. But this philosophical book association started almost 100 years ago, and they have been putting books in Braille for blind people. And unfortunately, Braille literacy is very low, and there aren't as many people able to read Braille who are blind as you would think. So that we have a lot of dependency on recordings and so forth. But when you're studying something, or when you're a kid and you want to, read a book and reread a book, it really needs to be in Braille. Yeah. So there's a strong possibility that I'm going to propose it to the board. I will become a Braille transcriber, and I will be putting children's books into Braille. Wow. So that's my current goal and my proposal. It'd be really fun.
That is so awesome. That is amazing, because
she always wanted to be a librarian too. Like, I've known her forever. She goes, if you had your dream, your wish, like really, what would you want to be in life, right?
I'd be a librarian with a PhD from Pacifica in mythology. Yeah. That's what I would do.
There you go.
And she goes, I go, this is kind of like right along those lines, right? Yeah. So how can we help?
Donate to, think about, when you're doing your donations, think about blind people. And the sports, for the most part, obviously blind people have difficulty with a ball sport, but they do yoga, walking. So there's lots of stuff, and they really need a lot of support. And it's us sighted people that need to create the safe environment for our blind community. So it's really important to get involved.
Yeah, the Braille Institute on De La Vina Street is a great place. If you need volunteer hours, they're more than happy to get you in there. And it's just a beautiful environment. The people there are so nice and appreciative. So I would second that motion.
Yay! Yes. Dr. Brian Falk.
Erica Salda.
We got to close out. We had another great show. God bless Santa Barbara. See you next week.